What's up, guys? Matt Brown here for TheLines.com, PlayPicks.com, joined by Brad Allen. We're going to talk some Thursday night football between the Steelers and the Vikings. Brad, as always, everything we do is absolutely free, so go ahead and give us a follow here on the channel. Subscribe to the channel. Give us a thumbs up and let us know in the comment section if you think me and Brad are idiots, if you think that, or if you agree with how we are viewing this game right now. We have the Minnesota Vikings as 3 to 3.5 point home favorites over the Steelers, a total of 43.5 or 44 right now, rest of country as we sit talking about this one. So, Brad, obviously the big thing here, no Adam Thielen for the Minnesota Vikings. It does, and it has come down just this morning that Dalvin Cook looks like he's going to play for this Vikings team. So that is a boost for them for sure. On the defensive side of the ball, we saw what happened last week. Inexcusable by any regard, but Patrick Peterson should be back. Anthony Barr should be back. Eric Kendricks should be back. So they should have 3 extra guys on the defensive side of the ball. On the Steelers side of things, Ben Roethlisberger still suffering from old, and so that's just something that's going to be, I think, for the rest of the season for them. But outside of that, it's not incredibly bad for the Steelers. And so I know that you have a play on the total, but let's just start here just talking generally about this game. So the Pittsburgh Steelers, look, they go, and a win is a win is a win is a win. It doesn't matter if it was a failed 2-point conversion. It doesn't matter. A win is a win is a win. They kind of stumble through, what has been an ugly season on the offensive side of the ball. If you were to try to make a case for the Steelers here in this one, what would that case be?
A case for the Steelers. I suppose you could argue the Vikings missing their left tackle, Christian Darrisaw, he's been very good for them this year. And the Steelers obviously have got that pass rush, TJ Watt, what's his name, Cam Hayward, he's been a monster all year long. So you could argue that would be, they could get after Kirk. Kirk doesn't really like pressure, and then they've got to focus on one person basically in Jefferson with Thielen out. That said, I'll prefer the other side if you want my actual opinion.
Yeah, that's definitely what we want to do. I think that there are people out there who are looking at the Steelers side and just kind of saying like, man, 3.5, if I can get 3 and a hook, that just seems like too much. And listen, it would be hard for me to argue that, considering it is a Vikings team that has played basically every single game down to the final possession all season long, and you're getting more than a field goal at a couple of the books that are out there. It'd be very hard for me to argue that against you. I do have a stronger conviction on the 3 with the Vikings if I was just playing a straight side in this one. But again, I would have trouble. I don't know about you, but I would have trouble for someone who said, dude, I'm getting 3.5. And I'm like, you're getting 3.5,
Yeah. I suppose one thing about that is I would say Thursday, it does seem like it's easier for games to snowball, and especially after the game the Steelers played last week, like game of the year, season on the line against the Ravens, and obviously it came down to the last play. It feels like, I watched a lot of that game, and I can't see any way that the Steelers replicate that effort. The defense was flying around. It was on the field the entire first half. I think they ran like 8 snaps or something in the first half or something stupid. And so, yes, I would say maybe on a Sunday, 3.5 is valuable given the way these two teams play, the close games. But I would say it's also a little bit more likely on the short week after that effort that it could get out of hand.
So talk about the Viking side and why you would prefer that side if you were playing the spread.
Yeah, so I suppose it starts with the look ahead here was 4.5, right? So obviously we've adjusted down, significantly, key number. Why? I would say the Steelers, they looked a little bit better, but also the Ravens had no cornerbacks. The Steelers had a couple of important touchdown drives that second half, but as John Harbaugh said, like we had no corners left. That's why they went for 2, because they knew they couldn't stop them.
Yeah.
So I'm not suddenly thinking Big Ben is fixed. The offensive line is still playing backups in a couple of spots. Big Ben is still the same guy who 2 weeks ago, was being laughed off the field against Cincinnati, throwing pick sixes. So again, he's got to turn around. He's 39. He's got a worn-out arm. Is he going to be his best? I would say probably not. And then for the Vikings, again, they lost the Lions. That's probably the other reason this has moved. But they were missing both key linebackers. They were missing Patrick Peterson, as you said. So they're getting those 3 defenders back healthy, so they're not fatigued like the Steelers. I'd also say Kendricks, I think, is huge. You remember last year when the game Kendricks missed against the Saints, where Alvin Kamara went for 5 touchdowns. I think he is he holds the whole defense together. So I think they're going to be a lot better as well. So yeah, as I say, I think 3 is probably cheap if you can get minus 115 or so.
I do think that there is a decent chance this becomes kind of like the Najee Harris game here, where kind of like you mentioned, look, Ben's washed. It's a short week. It's a team that if you were going to attack them, you are looking at a Minnesota defense ranked 29th DVOA versus the run, 20th according to Pro Football Focus. Their run stop win rate is dead last in the league at 32nd. So from a prop standpoint, I think we could be looking at some Najee Harris stuff here, at least maybe just attempts, even if you don't want to go yardage. I think that maybe that there's just going to be a ton of Najee Harris in this game, but I'm with you. I have a lean towards the Vikings, not in the account here, but I am on the same bet you are when it comes to the total here. What are you looking at?
Yeah, I quite like the over. So first of all, the Steelers, they've been going quite up-tempo in the last month. 7th fastest offense in the NFL over the last month. But I guess the way I see it playing out is, the other thing we should mention is there's no Joe Hayden here. Now, the Ravens didn't take advantage of that, but I think the Vikings with Jefferson, they are more likely to be able to go after these cornerbacks who aren't that good, essentially. Yeah. And then that's going to put the Steelers in comeback mode, if you ask me. And we've seen they can just go 80% pass and go no huddle, as they've been doing this last month, the way they did against the Chargers. So to me, I can see a lot of passing from the Steelers. I can see the Vikings having good success against a thin secondary. And I thought, it seems a very low total to me. I know there has been some sharp money on the under, but two teams who can score in a dome after a physical game last week. I think maybe 44.5, 45 is probably a fair line to me.
Yeah, and so I'm with you too. I think that this thing hit a 43 here in Vegas. When it hit that flat 43, I went ahead and played the over on it. It has come back up a little bit here, but I just feel like we're looking at a game here, like you said. The Pittsburgh defense can still get some pressure on the quarterback, but I think it's about time we just say, look, Kirk Cousins has been awesome this year. He's just played an awesome season. He's been really, really good. He's got, he's only got 3 picks on the whole year. I mean, he's done everything right. And you're not going to have Adam Thielen, and that's certainly not great. But, this KJ Osborne that they've got is a guy that they've been able to use and rely on here and there when needed. And so that's the other thing from a prop standpoint. He's sitting at like 41.5 receiving yards. If I believe there's going to be points in this game, then I believe they're going to have success through the air as well, right? And so I think a correlated play there might be just a very small little bit on the over for KJ Osborne as well. Just another one of those deals where I believe that he's going to have to get the yardage if this thing is going to go over as well for me. So a small play on that for me as well, guys. So again, we lean towards the Vikings. I guess it'd be tough for us to say that you were wrong if you were taking the 3 and a hook with the Steelers, but definitely more interested in the total in this one. Couple of maybe those props as well. Again, go ahead, subscribe to the channel. Go ahead and let us know in the comments section how you guys are playing this game, and good luck on your bets on Thursday Night Football.